We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Additions to the agenda.
I have one, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Underneath old business, Loon Cove detour, please. Yes, sir.
Anything else?
New business, first bullet item, that's actually on the consent agenda, so it doesn't need to be regular agenda.
Under new business, if number one, the police department, the safety grant. Yep, safety grant, just consent agenda. Motion.
So move, Mr. Chairman. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right, the public participation policy applies to all selectmen's meeting. A copy of it is on the back of each agenda posted in this meeting room or on our website. Public input. Seeing none. Appointments. Water department. Water revenues.
Oh,
Evening.
Evening.
So as of today, we have collected 91.578% of our budget, which is $435,018.51. We just billed for quarter 3. Our commitment is $127,000. And our remaining operating budget right now, as of today, is 26.19% or $124,416. On your agenda packets, I did include what we spoke about last week about the revenue account balance of $155,920 and the capital reserve balances that are remaining right now.
Mr. Chairman, at this point, I guess, on past due accounts, I don't know if that should be in public session or non-public.
That's gonna go into non-pub.
Okay, because I just did have one question on that.
I had just one question on the past due accounts, but it's not public. I mean, it can be taken care of in public. These are just, we don't have any more past dues than these.
We have the 30 days, but these were the large revolving ones that have been past 90 days.
So these are past 90
Yes, yep,
that you have listed here.
yep.
Okay.
These are the usual ones that we discuss. And
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yep.
Thank you.
the total of those past dues though are,
Yeah.
$20,000. So.
I just have a question on that last one. So when we go in non-public session, still need to have Courtney come in for that.
Yep, no problem.
But can I ask this question? If
Yes.
somebody went to the water department and wanted to know the past due accounts, would you have to release those names by RSA 91?
We always have, if it were someone other
Can't be
than,
brought up in public session now, so we don't prolong this out. I just think there should be a name change on one of them, that's all, because I think the last one that's listed there is actually held by a foreclosure bank now.
yeah, and unfortunately, we don't get that information unless we contact, I think, the town hall or somebody
Right,
calls
and
us.
that's what it should be, because that should be a lien now on that property, I believe.
Correct, and I think Virgil and I had spoke about it. We're gonna reach out to, I guess, the town clerk, tax
Yes.
collector
Because the name-
tomorrow to discuss
name
that.
you have on there, one is, I think it's misspelled, but those folks have both passed away. They wouldn't be liable for that bill. So it'd be the bank holding company that foreclosed on them that had the reverse mortgage.
Yeah, okay.
That should be on file down at town, down in the clerk's office. So
We can
that's the
take care
name
of
that
that.
should be on there with a lien attached to that property.
Well, there's no estate.
There were, no, even before the estate, before the widow passed, bank had already foreclosed on the reverse mortgage. Mortgage company took over this, in which we should have had a lien on it at that point. And don't know if the water department was notified at that time. I thought they were. So that really should say the holding company that holds that
When we
mortgage.
were water commissioners, we discussed it, and we put a lien on it.
It possibly was, and it possibly never happened, but it needs to be done. Because it hasn't sold for some unknown reason.
No, it's pretty close.
Yeah, but we need,
Pretty close.
but we need to get the lien on it tomorrow before it does sell, because otherwise the water department's out that money. The top two, that's come down quite a ways from when I was water commissioner, because they've been making payments. So that one was a lot higher.
Yep.
So I would say within 2 years, that should be gone.
I wouldn't doubt it, yep.
And the other one, I believe, is on Mooney Street.
Yes, and that the balance that you see there was after a payment was made yesterday.
So, and that one's been ongoing for a long time. But I think the top two have held up to their words. Bottom one, that should have a lien put on it tomorrow.
I'll check on that, and
We should have.
it may just be that Penny wasn't there when I got these numbers for you guys today, because my computer froze on me and I lost everything I was working
So I
on.
mean, it's between the town administrator, water superintendent. I think they should look into that tomorrow. Getting a lien on that.
One question, does the lien, is that still susceptible to gain interest? Or does that stop?
Once the lien goes on, you'd have to contact town attorney on that.
Okay.
For me to know for sure. I can't tell you that.
Okay, just to make sure we do it fairly and correct.
I think when we put a lien against the property on property taxes, the interest still occurs
Does.
as
Okay,
it goes. Yes.
Better out to check it.
yep, sure.
So you no longer need a non-public?
No, ma'am. No, because I really didn't even mean to mention the name, so.
I figured we could just speak of the values and I'd know what
Yeah,
you're talking
exactly.
about. That's
I-
why they were there.
But I would like to see the superintendent and the town administrator get together tomorrow and get this cleared up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Now, while we're talking water, I had a question last week about using the ARPA fund. You say we can. I would like to replace the money we used over School Street out of the money we got from the Pope.
I would like to have that included with materials and labor.
So currently, I have been informed by the finance manager that Courtney is keeping track of the overages on that project to be reimbursed for out of the ARPA funds.
Okay.
But is that, do you want in addition to the overages? Is that what
Well, whatever it costs to do that project
okay, that's
is
what
what I would like to see, plus any labor you had to put in on that project, because it really was contracted out to a private.
Should be included.
my biggest thing, and I had spoke to Laura about it, is my overtime line is overexpended because of that. So that was one of the huge hits. Everything else, all the invoices coming were mostly charged to the 900 account that we voted for in March for it to come out of the main, was it the main
On a main
expense? Yeah.
expense. So that money could be replaced, but any extra labor that wasn't, you were not supposed to incur, I think should go into this. Yes.
Should be
I'd like to
included.
get you evened out.
Yep.
We've done a good service for the town to repair that, but we ran into a few wrinkles.
I have all the values, so it should be a pretty easy
Good.
transition.
That would just help go back to that water main expense. So in
Right.
case there's
For
ever
future
a
things.
major emergency, or you need to replace part of that main, you have the money to do it.
Yep, okay. Well, I'll have an answer for you tomorrow. And like I said, it could already have a lien on that property and I just, yeah,
You don't know it yet,
Didn't-
but that name should be changed, I think, at that point.
to a trust. I think it's a revocable trust is what I
Because if
remember
it's, if
reading.
it's
or-
not, we'll have to have a lien put on it, and the selectmen will have to vote to put the lien on
The
it.
holding company.
Next week's meeting.
Right now.
Hopefully
Okay.
there is.
Upstairs in the tax office, it's a holding company that has that.
Okay,
They're asking 238,000 for it.
okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
No problem.
Solid waste brush chipping.
Evening.
Good evening, Scott.
Right?
We sent this out to bid. The same company that bid on it before. One company called and wanted to look at it. I never saw anybody. I don't know if they did. They didn't put a bid in it. And Tom Huckins was the only one that bid on it.
It's not a bad
Now,
price.
this is per year for the next 3 years, starting this year. Said he'd done it for the last 10, 12 years. Done an excellent job. Cleans it up. Usually takes them a day, but now
That's it.
there's more brush, so.
It's quite a bit there.
Yeah, you got a good chat.
Mhm.
I think that's good price.
Very good. That's, sounds good.
Yeah, and that's for 3 years.
Mhm.
For 10,000 per year.
Yeah, right. That won't change for the next 3 years.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we accept the 3-year contract at $10,000 a year for Huckins grinding.
I'll second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
I'd like to bring up one more thing.
Yep.
Just for the meeting, I got a phone call from an employee. He gave his notice, gonna work till the end of the month,
He's gonna work till the end of the month.
till the end of this month. So I'm gonna get together with Stacy, get it advertised. What I'd like to do, get somebody, maybe train them over a year, then for 2023, whatever. I like, kind of make it an assistant position. So like when I'm gone, somebody can, take in charge or whatever, do paperwork. And
Right.
that's kind of what I'm looking at. But so hopefully we got somebody.
Don't be retiring yet.
What's
How
that?
quick,
Don't be retiring yet then.
Yeah.
how quick can we get that ad? Well, for trying to get somebody to, I'd like to get right on that quick.
Within, is it possible within this week?
Yes,
And I saw the ad in the paper the other day. Looked pretty good. With the benefits in there. You seeing that? So
Thank you.
Figured I'd give you a.
All right. Well, thank you.
No,
for-
thank you.
Thank you for the heads up.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fire Department, Central Station Bay Floor. How many times we gonna discuss this bay floor?
Hopefully this is it.
Yep.
So
I would plan on 3 feet.
we,
What was there before was about 3 feet.
yeah, what's there is not very strong.
No.
That's for sure.
It goes down
Sure
about
you.
3 feet the last time they fixed the floor in there.
Yeah.
Sure there's gonna be
And we're gonna have
surprises.
to, obviously, we're gonna have to pull out what's under that, because what's under that is also not very strong.
Yeah.
So this plan involves ourselves and Highway Department getting together, renting the appropriate equipment and getting the job done.
Mhm.
It's more of an in-house repair than an out of. I mean,
that a
everything,
week?
the only quote we got back was in the $40,000 range. And it didn't meet the
Sounds about
specs because it
right,
was
yeah.
out of time. We didn't accept it. We put it back out. We also, again, didn't get any bids back. So talked to Scott, the Public Works Director, and using what the past road agent had come up with and what he had come up with, he came up with this new plan, us working together and just doing the job in-house.
It'll probably come out better.
And doing,
We'll
renting,
we'll know exactly what's there.
and renting the necessary equipment.
Yep, running the necessary equipment. So, as you can see on the back page of the letter from Scott, it's got the breakdown of everything.
Yep. I was just looking at that.
The apparatus for that bay, where are you gonna put it at the time being?
That, it depends. We're actually gonna, what's in there right now is the ambulance, so we're gonna have to move something else to keep the ambulance there. And it may be the rescue, maybe something else that ends up over in east where we have room to put it. The idea is not to put something outside.
Right, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, so on that note, the other thing we're working on is getting security cameras back up and running on the outside of that building.
Try and get them on all town buildings.
So you came up with the price for the contractor for the fiber mesh reinforced 6-inch, 4,000-pound mix outside contractor at $4,800.
That was, and Scott actually came up with that. He has a
That's an estimate.
contractor that he uses.
Mhm.
That's their estimate.
Yep, that's their estimate.
Yeah.
Cheap for
Well, that's Scott's estimate. And the way I read it,
That's still
Yeah.
cheap. for
So
a
that's
local.
Scott's estimate. Okay.
yeah, I don't
That's-
think, I don't
that's-
think he talked to.
Well, I know he talked to people he's used in the past.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's people that he knows and
Yeah.
got a rough idea of what should cost.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
a motion to allow the Public Works Director and the Fire Chief to go ahead with the Bay Fire Station, Central Station Bay project not to exceed $10,000.
I'll second that.
more discussion.
It's long overdue.
All those in favor?
Yes, let's get it
I'd
done.
rather see it done in-house.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think this will work out
I
well.
think we got the right people to do it.
Yes, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we have our crews is pretty smart.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, 2022 elections location, Robin. Step right up. Come to center stage. Not yet.
I got a message from Lisa. She can't make it tonight, so.
So this is in regards to the site walk that you asked that
Yeah.
happen over at the school. That was held a week and a half ago, and Bob, you were
Yeah,
there, you were
yeah.
the selectman's rep, and
Yeah, basically where we're at.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Where we're at, we did the sidewalk, walk over there at the sidewalk, at the new road, and, but actually, that school, we can't make it work. As the entrances and so forth. Other than that, it'd be perfect. It's flat level, but you can't get in and out of that gym properly.
parking, lack of
Parking.
And, you know, you
Yeah,
gotta
so
park
walk
so.
3/4 of the way around
Park
the
out.
I
building.
didn't think it was good at,
Yeah.
to begin
You
with.
just
Yeah,
can't.
they've used up all the parking for additions.
So the only other place in town that would be available is Prospect Mountain.
Mhm.
That's got a couple issues where it's the school board's different, there's two. Plus being able to close that school down is a problem.
Mhm.
Liz has been in contact with the superintendent.
Have we talked to them about maybe next year having a teachers workshop on election day?
Well, we're gonna change we're gonna address that warrant article. That would alleviate the problem.
Yeah,
That'll be at our March meeting.
yeah,
And if that passes.
if it passes.
Yeah, which I think it should. It's a house cleaning item, who knows?
Mhm.
But if that passes, then that's the end of that problem. But if it doesn't, then we're gonna have to go, the only thing I can see would be Prospect Mountain.
And that's why,
It would have to be.
And we'd have time then for them to declare that for a day off.
well, that's why I'm saying you gotta start talking to them now. Because they're setting up their next year schedules here and just, because they run from June. They go from June, so their budget stops June.
June, yeah. I
They're
understand
setting
it.
up for next year now. That's why you have to talk to them now for next year.
Well, Liz talked.
We have to get to them before June because they're setting up their budgets before June, but their
Budgets and
schedules are
Schedules,
set
everything.
by the end of June.
Right, but you
So-
have to start
Well, we
talking to
will
them now, so
know.
somebody has an idea over there on what they're planning. So it's in their planning.
Well, if they do it in June, that our meeting is March, we'd know then. Now you got April and
But you
May.
can't wait till June. They're planning now
right.
for 2022, just like we start planning our books and our budgets
But it's,
back in April.
but the other thing is, it's not just our meetings. You got the general election, you got the primary,
Right.
you got to think about all of those that are
Right.
coming up. And you got that one coming up in
Quite a few.
2024. You got
We have 3 next year.
3 next year.
Right,
So,
A lot.
I mean, there's a lot more to it than just saying, just our meeting.
right.
Mhm.
No, I know, that's
But
That's why I'm
March would
saying you
be our
gotta-
first one and then
Well, January, you got a primary. February, you do, right? This coming year.
May I speak, Mr. Chairman?
yes.
So I have been in contact with the superintendent of schools, Mr. Broderick, and they are on the fiscal year. It starts July 1st. And in order for them to close the school on any of these election dates that I have on my list here, they need to know in January. They need to know by January,
right.
And then what he would do is he then needs to get approval from the state and approval from the school board to change those election dates into remote learning dates. That way the school wouldn't be open with the kids running around and everything for the elections.
Right, because if we can use the cafeteria part of that school, I don't think we'd have as big a problem as trying to funnel people down the auditorium.
So, I mean, that was discussed a little bit, but there's still, on these elections, a lot of people show up to vote, and it's quite a distance for walking. You have a cane or a wheelchair. We talked about this the other week.
But they want
And-
it in a town building.
So not necessarily. So for this year in March, for the elections, it's too late for the school district to do that thing, switching it to the remote learning. And I had a discussion with the town attorney this morning, and I told him the entire scenario of the fiscal years, of the dates, of the locations, the site walk and everything. And including that 2008 warrant article, which has an exception in it, which would be considered an emergency. So this March date definitely qualifies for that.
But we could put it in the senior center if we had to,
Well,
which is a
Can I
town-owned
say
property.
something?
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I do remember in one of our conferences with the moderators that if our town does not have a facility to hold an election, if New Durham has a facility or some, like a border town that could help us, that would be an option as well. I don't think it's a favorable one.
I mean, we didn't do
But I'm
bad
just
when
saying.
we didn't do bad when we had it at the senior center. The problem is they went out and jammed up the parking.
yeah.
Yeah, we had a
We
couple
had to
of.
go get the
yeah,
cops
We
to
had a,
release it. I mean, we moved a lot of people through there without a problem.
well, we wouldn't have a problem except that if it's a town election, like that was not a town election,
No,
that
that
we
was.
could keep the flow moving.
Right.
But where you have so many warrant articles on the town one, you're gonna have a line all the way out to the,
Because it takes time to read, 40 to 60 warrant articles when
Right.
you're in the ballot booth.
It does.
I
Well,
mean, I thought it worked
Go
efficiently.
out
I
and
would-
rent tents, put heaters in them.
Make it, as long as it's on town property. If it takes 3 hours to vote up there, then it takes them 3 hours to vote.
So the group of people that were at the site walk the other week all agreed that hopefully the warrant article would pass in March because it clarifies it and it replaces the current wording. And everyone seemed to be on the same page that for the March election, St. Catherine's would work the best. Legally, it's doable. And then,
Well, how
the
can it be
schools.
doable if we have a warrant article that was passed and voted on by the voters that elections are to be held on a town property, town building?
So
Now you're saying St. Catherine's and that's legal. Well, it can't be legal if it's been voted on by the taxpayers.
if you read the warrant article from
get it.
2008, it says in a town facility, all town type meetings must be held in a town facility, except in the case of an emergency. And this qualifies for an emergency. But there's even more reason
Wait a
to,
minute, how can this qualify as an emergency when we've got 3-4 months, 6 months of figuring this out? What qualifies that for an emergency if you got 6 months to figure it out? I mean, I don't understand what makes it an emergency.
an emergency in that it cannot be held in a town facility.
Why?
It was just explained to you.
Mr. Chairman,
I didn't hear nothing about the Pearson Center, that we've held elections in there before and didn't have a problem except for the parking.
So this was
We had one,
discussed.
but we had a lot of people complain about that. I have heard complaints about the church,
I have.
but they were minimal
Mhm.
compared to the high school, which was maximal.
the high school, the problem was we couldn't fit enough people down them hallways, so everything backed up. And people.
No,
were
I
complaining
had a
about
lot of
walking
the
down that
elderly that
auditorium.
couldn't walk that walkway to get down towards the stage. Then they complained about how far it was because there was no parking in that parking lot that was on the side that was supposed to be left open, and it wasn't left open. So they had to go up into a back lot and they were walking down. So there was a lot of people complaining. It doesn't
Gonna
matter
get
what
people
you do, you're
anyways.
going to have complaints.
That's right. But to me, this doesn't qualify as an emergency when we've got this much time to figure it out.
So I
I mean,
think,
if we're being
you could-
forced our hands to have it in a town building, then put it in whatever one we got. I don't care if it's the community center. And when they scream and holler, then maybe they'll pass it. And you can tell them why, that this is what. you
Mr. Chairman, one
voted.
place you could have it that would probably work, probably you aren't like the idea, but clear out the highway department space and have it in there. It's
There we
big and wide.
go. There we go. It's a town building.
They can pull the highway trucks out for the night. They have the
Overflow in the
election
salt shed.
back in. I mean, it's clean down there. When they have all the vehicles out, the floors are swept and clean. The
Yeah.
voting booths could go in. It's nice and easy to walk around. It's wide open. That's the only other bigger place you got in this town, besides the fire station where they used to have it when I was a kid growing up.
And that wasn't very big either.
That's not
That
very
wasn't
big.
very big, and the
That's not
town
very
was
big.
only 2,500 people back
Right.
then. So,
As long as parking wouldn't be an issue.
you got their big parking lot, you got parking across the
Good.
street. You know,
well, it's up
We're gonna
to
have
the
have
board.
Crosswalks.
It's up to the board according to
Crosswalks, yeah.
RSAs, but you also need to make sure
Thought
that
it
the
was up to the
moderator and the
board.
town clerk are okay with it.
Yeah.
the only problem with the highway department, if there's a storm that day, you got a lot of trucks coming in and out.
Well, that's the problem. In the last couple of elections that we've
Yeah.
had, we've had
Storms.
snowstorms.
Yes, sir.
Well, I think the issue is we have to determine if there's an emergency or not.
I don't believe it is an emergency if you got this much time, figure it out.
When's the last date you need to know to post it where it's gonna be?
Town clerk would know that. That would be.
So for the March election,
Right.
so
isn't it?
that's
Feb-
on the ballot. So
January.
we would need to know by early January.
Right.
Early January, you call it an emergency, because you have no other place to put it.
I
Say that again?
suggest,
That's not way to do it.
Well, where else you want to put it? I guess give me the answer tonight. Where else you gonna put it?
Right at the senior center.
It's not a great place in March.
Well, the
Because
Well,
people
town,
are
we'd have-
standing outside unless you're gonna rent tents and put heaters in them.
The
people are
last time
standing
we
out in
did
snow.
was, we put 2 tents right by the door and it worked fine.
the town clerk is concerned with,
Boots.
with not enough space inside. They need to have 26 booths by state law, 26 booths.
how many
Yes,
do
and
you have in there
Prospect
to
Mountain
last?
High accommodate the proper amount of booths.
That was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
So the
Correct.
number of
And it's
voters
grown. It's grown.
decreased.
Just gonna
It's,
say
you
that.
need 1 booth for every 100 registered voter.
Correct.
And what do we
Yeah.
got? 600 registered voters now? Because I know it went down.
No, we
No,
have.
2,600 or something, 2,700.
The-
according
No, I
to
believe
Lisa.
it's more than that. You'd have to check with the supervisor of the checklist. We had, I believe, 2,600 come to vote for the presidential.
Right. And then we went down. Because I read that we went down this year in voters.
Yeah, there was some culling of the
Mhm.
voter checklist.
Yeah.
There is every few years.
The only other place is possibly, we just said it, is the fire department.
Aid station.
Once the fire station floor is
Hurry up
fixed,
to your new
that's
floor.
fixed. We have a new floor.
Yeah, you got a little packing problem down there.
There's a little,
And then-
I think it's,
That's 140.
I think it's equal
Close
to
140.
With the snow,
town shed.
snow on
Put a
the
truck across it, and
apparatus.
That's the end of it. Send them down letter S.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we table this until December.
I'd just like to read that warrant. It references an RSA 91-A.
91A.
Yeah. And except in the event of emergency circumstances. Circumstances. Could very well be considered a circumstance.
That's what the town attorney says.
Well,
I believe it
I have
is
to
because
disagree
we
that
need
it's
to
an
worry
emergency
about the
when we have time to
accommodation
figure
of
it
the
out.
people that are voting, the people that have to work there, the volunteers that come in. When the Secretary of State comes in to make sure we're on a properly run election, have to make sure that building can support it. Now, the place of election is entirely on the selectmen. Running the election is myself. Making sure the proper facilities can be handled is your clerk. So, I mean, I really,
if the town attorney considers that an emergency
Circumstance.
circumstance
Right.
as an emergency, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I just soon have it at the St. Catherine myself. It seems to have been a good place. It's worked out well. There's only been a few small issues, only a few small complaints. I know we have to get over this hurdle, but I think if the town attorney feels as though it constitutes as an emergency because we don't have a place that we can actually have this safely, I agree with it.
Thank you, Paul.
But we do have a place. Got plenty of time to figure it out, which doesn't make it an emergency.
I'm just stating how I
By
feel.
putting it off till December or January, whatever, to force it into an emergency is wrong. All right, what's the board's wishes? You decide where you're gonna have it.
sorry.
Well,
Mr. Chairman, I had a motion out on the floor.
I think we were all split
I had a
up.
motion on the floor. You didn't read it. Made a motion to table this item until December. That way they'd be close to the town meeting. You could establish an emergency then.
Nobody seconded it yet.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
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 I say either. Gotta have it in the town facility. Fire station, community center. I mean, I'd run it through the community center. And when people scream and holler, that's what you've said though.
I say we get this over with and
Yeah, that's my thing. I don't,
let's get it over with and put this down as an emergency and let's move on. I make a motion to accept the town attorney's opinion on the reading of the RSA, that this is, it constitutes as an emergency because we don't have a proper place in order in town to have the town elections. So my motion is to go ahead with the suggestion and consider it an emergency and have it at St. Catherine Drexel
Second.
this year.
second, yeah.
My opinion is no, because we still have the high school that we could use, that we've used with the high school open. We've used that auditorium. We could put it right back in there. That is town owned. All right,
Partially anyways.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Nay,
Hey.
2 noes, 3 yeses. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Still got no answer that you decide, so we can blame you. People yell at us, we'll say, no, Robin.
The answer is St.
No, we have an
Catherine's. You
answer.
just
We have an
voted
answer.
on that. Yeah.
We have an answer.
I know,
Okay, he's joking.
I'm confused.
the church.
St. Catherine.
Thank you very much. To be honest with you, it's a lot easier to work. It's a lot easier for the volunteers and they're getting harder to come by. COVID was miserable to get help with. So I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
If I can help you out with anything else, let me know.
Thank you.
Cove detour.
Chairman, the reason I'm bringing that up, Highway Department last week put the entrance in for the detour.
Yes.
They put the sign 60 to 70 feet before the entrance of the detour. So when you're coming up Route 11 at night, your headlights are actually heading off to the right where the sign says Loon Cove Detour here. So you start looking for it. You go past the sign, your headlights are going over 18-inch cones that are there, turns right, goes straight down. It's fairly poorly lit. Or the barricades that you'd use for crowd control could at least better illuminate that area where you're turning on. And when you get down the bottom hill, all you got is piles of dirt and rock. It's very dark. So anybody pulling down in, if they're not from that area,
Gonna have trouble.
they'd have trouble. I'm from that area and I really couldn't see the entrance that first night. And then, because as you're coming around the corner, you got cars coming up the hill
You
from
know
Route
where it
11.
was gonna be.
And I just think it should be better illuminated, the entrance of it. Or if not, rent one of those solar lights. They can sit out there at night so it comes on. Maybe move that detour sign up and see if they can increase the lettering of it. That lettering on that detour sign, you cannot read it until you write on it. Like I said, the residents who live there, they know it's there now.
Right.
Someone that has been up there for 2 months comes up on that end of the road, might miss that turn. I just think it should be looked at from the fire chief's maybe point of view, police chief, and the public works director again at night. Other than that, they did a great
Agree with
job.
that. I mean, you live in that area, and if you don't notice where that entrance
I
was,
drove
we've
by,
discussed
right.
it.
Not at night. I haven't been.
Yeah.
Not at night, even during the day, it's hard to spot it.
Well, to me, if Ruben that's lived there all his life,
Mhm.
can't see it, then we better
I
do
see
something.
it now. I know it's there now,
Right.
but the first 2 nights going up to it, your lights just go over the cones and it's very dark there. And that entrance goes right down.
Mhm.
It's not a nice gradual
And
entrance.
they've got the cones back too.
Yeah.
So you don't see, there's nothing out further.
Liz,
Yes,
have them look into that.
yes. Yep, I
Thank
just
you.
made a
That's all
note.
I have, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, that's no problem.
All right. Selectmen reports.
Only thing I have for you, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
unless Bob has something.
No, all set.
At the end of the month, I'll be meeting with the Route 11 corridor group up in
Oh,
Guilford.
nice.
Is that the CAC committee,
Yeah.
Yeah,
CAC,
been doing it for,
cousin to Zach?
No, I'm good.
oh,
Not at this time.
I got none until tomorrow. Yes. Well, yeah, town administrator report, so you're next.
All right. I have one item, which is for you to set the date of the deliberative session, which you have a document in your binder on that. It's from the legal calendar from the New Hampshire Municipal Association. It has to be on a date on or between Saturday, February 5th and Saturday, February 12th. You
Usually have it on the second Wednesday in February.
on the second Tuesday in
Second
February, and the
Tuesday,
snow
yeah.
date is Wednesday. Do you want
Yeah.
to still, would the board like to do that as you normally do?
You can have it on Saturday. I just won't be there.
Yeah, Saturday's a tough day.
I know, I just,
Plus the school has it on Saturdays.
so it would be Tuesday, February 8th with a snow date of February 9th. I should probably ask for a motion to memorialize that.
I make a motion that we hold deliberative session on February 8th,
Second.
2022, right?
Yep.
What time, Mr. Chairman, what time?
6 o'clock.
6
6:00.
with a
That's
tentative
what it was
date.
last year.
It's so
Smart.
date.
Tentative
With
date of the
With
night.
a snow date of February 9th,
Second.
Wednesday, February 9th.
Who seconded that?
Paul,
Okay, thank you.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
That's it?
That's it.
Boy, that was quick.
I have a
Said quick.
non-public, but
All right,
that's,
moving on to approval of minutes. September 22nd, 2021. Make a motion, we approve. September 22nd, 2021 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve and accept the September 27, 2021 public session. Minutes.
I'll second that.
may I speak?
Yes.
So These were tabled because of a question on the end of page 2, going over to page 3. So that has been amended. And if you go down page 3 to the bullet item that says Bay Hill Road, skip that first paragraph and then look at the next 2 little paragraphs, which actually pertain back up to the Alton Shores Road.
Yep.
And the reason they're there is because it hadn't finished up, the discussion hadn't finished up yet. It went to Bay Hill and then it went back to Alton Shores to get that finalized.
Right, we have a motion, a second. Approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Was it just for?
Okay. Make a motion, we approve the November 29th, 2021 public session minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
September 29th.
Yeah, the non-public, keep it sealed.
Yep.
Yeah. Make a motion that we approve the non-public session minutes for September 29th and not to divulge.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
October 4th.
Can I make a motion, we approve the October 4th public session?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. October 4th, non-pub.
That was not sealed in the past, and that can stay open.
Okay. Make a motion, we approve the October 4th non-public session.
I'll second that.
Bob seconded it. All those in favor?
Aye.
October 6th.
Approve, motion to approve the October 6th public meeting?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the October 6th, 2021 non-public session and not to divulge.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those minutes. Consent agenda.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as published, submitted on October 18th, 2021, 1 through 5.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's see. Sure. Action. Alton Rotary Club requests Pearson Road Community Center storage.
No, Mr. Chairman, you'll see my recommendation on that is to recommend the future appointment for them to come in, and I recommended, I believe it was 5 to 10 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we allow the Alton Rotary Club to speak on the Pearson Road Community Center storage.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public input. Jeez. Everybody jump.
Get them move quick.
All right, moving on. Gee,
Shots over the bow from Ken tonight.
we don't
No,
have
that's what I'm looking at. I'm going like this.
I make a motion that we go into non-pub under RSA 91-A:3, 2, A and C.
Chairman, I'll go into that, but can we take 5 minutes real quick? I gotta run downstairs real quick.
Yeah, he's the right guy.
Thank you.